You're listening to the Fours Up Podcast with your host, Marsh.
What up, what up, what up? It is another episode of the Fours Up Podcast. It is coronavirus season. We are in the beast of the belly, or belly of the beast. It is Marsh, your boy, as always. And just as always, I am joined by my wonderful producer and co-host, Jordan Nelson. Jordan, talk to me. How are we? What are we thinking?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm excited for this new weekly thing we're trying to do, where one of our episodes is more focused on mailbag and like interaction with our listeners and our friends and fans, and then we'll focus on interviews the other one. So I'm excited to roll out the first solely dedicated to mailbag episode.
Absolutely, dude. I freaking, I know, like, for podcasts that I've listened to, like, when you have your question answered, it's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And,
so how you been doing since we last recorded with the world falling apart?
I'm good, man. Like, my girlfriend was staying with my family for like the first week of quarantine, and then she took off, so that sucks. You know, now I'm flying solo, just a lot more video games, and been listening to Star Wars novels on Audible, which is fantastic.
Good deal. I've been listening to because I've been driving back and forth to Idaho and California, and now back in Utah. Been catching up on or re-listening to old Orange Bowl Boys episodes, and we got to get Scoop on and Toast on. But dude, I need to get Scoop on. That guy is. We have a special bond. He's like an older version of me. I was listening to an old episode today, and they had me on. It was after the Louisiana Tech game, and I was blowing my top, obviously. And after Scoop was like, yeah, that dude just like that. I'm like that dude, but 20 years older. We need to get him on. Yeah.
No, dude, the Orange Bowl Boys are awesome. You know, it's always a good listen, and you know they're what we're trying to do. You know, so.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think if I had anything else before we started jumping. Do you have the questions in front of you?
I do not, but I have. Sorry, I was more focused on my Mountain Dew, but let me pull them up. What about you, man? So you're just listening to the Orange Bowl Boys, and anything else going on? How's your brother doing? We haven't heard anything. I guess he's taller than you, right? So I was gonna call him Mini Marsh. I don't know if that works.
Oh, dude, he's giant, and he's grown since he's left. I think he's I think he's 6'5" or 6'6" now.
Jeez, yeah,
yeah, and I am like the shortest one in my family. So, and all like my brothers and my dad, they're all huge people, and here am I.
Yeah, you're a big dude, though. I mean, like, you're thick, and you're like, I mean, you were as tall as I am, right?
I'm like 6 foot.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I think we're right.
He's at St. George because, I mean, they like told him to stay in one place for 2 weeks. So he's down there with my mom. I think I might go down there here in a few days. But other than that, man, just like trying to provide Canes fans with as much content as possible because honestly, it's what gets me through the day.
Oh, absolutely, man. There's been some rumblings that football's not going to happen, and I've been shutting those thoughts far, far away from my mind, so I don't lose it, man. Like
I just can't see this thing going on up until like football season. Like I just can't see it happen. That's so far away.
Well, the rationale that I saw was that like if this thing is over by July and like dude, my dog's outside the door crying. I feel so bad. So if if players are cleared to work out and be back in the locker rooms and stuff in July, then like the person that I was reading was saying that it would be a health risk because they wouldn't have the strength and conditioning to play a season. So we'd probably have an uptick in serious injuries and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. No, I mean there's so many ways to look at it. I mean,
I bet by July this thing's well past its peak. But like putting a whole bunch of fans, I'd be shocked if we had fans at the games this year, even if we get a season.
Really?
Yeah, I think you'd just be asking for another go around, like you'd be asking for a second wave of infection and a lot of people that didn't get hit the first time getting hit once we resume. Once quarantine's over and we're stuffing people into subway cars and buses and stuff like that, I think we're gonna have waves of this thing for a few years. I'm no expert though, so I could be talking out of my butthole, but who knows?
That just is hell for me. Like, I'm finishing school, I'm going into the sports industry, and right as I'm done, this all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Like, there is no sports. What the hell?
This is the absolute worst thing that could have possibly happened.
Yeah. Like, it is so bad. It is so bad. But I saw that Miami Sports Radio, like the stations down there, they let go of a few people, and I want to bug them like hell and hire me.
Do it, man.
That's my goal, man.
Go put your balls on the table, Marsh.
Oh, I'll put everything on the table. They'll hate me by the end of it.
No, you're not hired, and I'm calling the police.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it's
Like, you deserve it, man. I mean, go for it. There's no reason why they wouldn't hire you.
That's the dream. That's been the dream jobs since I was a kid, and so it's right there.
Oh yeah,
I just want to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe we can. We gotta get. We'll try to get some people tweeting at the radio stations and force their hand. Maybe don't hire you, and then you could make your glorious return back to your old stomping grounds.
Yeah, it would be like in the Bible when Jesus goes into Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He rides in on an ass. I'd be just rolling down frickin' South Beach with no one around because everyone's in coronavirus, and I'm just waving to Miami saying I'm back.
Oh man. Well, on that note, should we jump into our questions?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the first one, we got a lot of questions from our guy Gunner at Gunner305. We got a lot of questions from him. So we'll start with one of his. He says, who do you think was a better quarterback at Miami, Brad Kaya or Ja'Cory Harris? And I responded to him and I said that I'm willing to fight people over this answer because there's only one right answer.
Yeah. Like, it would, yes, and it's friend of the program, best friend of the program, actually, Brad Kaya. Like, it would be saying, okay, here, I've thought about, like, this question, like, over the years, like, comparing, if you were to say Ja'Cory was the better quarterback, though he didn't have the stats that Kaya did, Ja'Cory would have had to at least win.
Yeah.
He didn't win.
And, dude, he threw so many interceptions.
Bro, UNC is still picking him off in the 09 game.
Yeah. He threw, in 4 years, he threw more interceptions than Brad Kaya did in, like, I used to have all the stats. I can't remember. But he threw so many freaking interceptions, man. Like, I like Ja'Cory. I don't want to be a hater. However, I get pissed off when people say he was better than Brad because that's just patently false.
People, and myself included, we love Ja'Cory for the first 2 games of the 2009 season. That is it. His incredible game against Florida State and then against Georgia Tech, and then the very next week up in Blacksburg, Virginia Tech manhandled him.
No, I'm not a hater. I own I've only ever owned one Miami Hurricanes football jersey, and it is a Ja'Cory Harris number 12.
Wow.
However, I'm not even sure he's better than Stephen Morris. He just wasn't that great. You know, he was good. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great.
If he did not have that Florida State game, he wouldn't, like, people wouldn't talk about him at all.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I ripped out a page in the Sports Illustrated that was previewing college football. I think it was before the 2009 season, 2008 or 2009, one of them, where they projected Miami as finishing 6th and said that Ja'Cory Harris was a Heisman candidate. And I held on to that picture for years and years and years, and I don't know where it is now. But yeah, that was a disappointing. That was
I also remember reading in a college football magazine before the 2006 season saying that Kyle Wright was a contender to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
But I am not a Ja'Cory hater.
How cool would it be to have Kyle Wright on and ask him what happened? I don't know if he'd be down to talk about it like that, but
dude,
everyone says you had the talent. Like I didn't watch all of your games, but I believe him. But like, what happened?
People know my feelings about Kyle Wright, and honestly, he probably would do the interview as long as I was not involved.
Yeah. Well.
Because I would turn the cameras on for the Skype and just stare at him and just say why. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, why were you so bad?
You know, like Levon doesn't put any blame on him. I mean, well, I guess any of the guys that we've talked to from that year, they never really criticized Kyle. I mean, that could be because they were his teammate. But I'm definitely not trying to put words in anyone's mouth. But who knows, man? I don't know. We've had a lot of issues over the years. It's hard to put your thumb on one guy or one coach or one.
I'll tell you one of the people who started it, and it was Kyle Wright.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
Okay, let's go on to the next question.
Brad Kaya all the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if you say that we are wrong, you're a dork.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Okay, this is, speaking of Levon, this is his best friend of the program, Levon Ponder. If you could bring one person from the 01 National Championship team to add it to the current Miami team, who would it be and why? To me, this is... Ooh, I actually just thought of a good one. To me, our biggest need right now is leadership. And so that has me narrowing it to 3 guys who are the 3 team captains as told by our friend Brad Coons. And that would narrow it to Ed Reed, Ken Dorsey, and Joaquin Gonzalez.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And not only like those are, I mean, we need leadership, like they would be, those are positions that we need talent at.
Yeah. So Joaquin, I kind of lead Joaquin just because we need O-line so bad, but man, Ed Reed would just be a game changer, you know?
I mean, you could also put in Brian McKinney. You could also put in Clinton Portis. You could put in, I mean, there's so many. I mean, linebacker, we could go put in Jonathan Vilma. Like,
oh, sheesh.
That dude was insane. Let's throw in Philip Buchanan. Like, I mean, as you guys know, like I'm going back through the 2001 season and recapping in every game. And that team, even we know them as the greatest team of all time, but when you sit down and actually watch the games, like game to game, they are so much better than like they just exceed my expectations. They're so fast, they're so polished, and they're so just not what we saw last year for the Hurricanes, the complete opposite. And I mean, there's a ton of people that you can guys from that team that you can answer that question to.
Hey, I just thought of a good one. I just made up this question. But you have to answer rapid fire, okay? So no thinking about it. Agreed? Okay. So let's say we're playing Alabama tomorrow, okay? You taking Jeremy Shockey or Brevin Jordan?